Well, hello and thank you for joining me in front of the ITY.com and Alex on Tech Video. I have with me today Rafi Katanasho. He's the CTO and Solution Sales VP at Dynatrace. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now we've
Great
thank you. Now you gave a wonderfully dynamic and must-see presentation, which actually I've recorded in full and I've got available for readers to watch. But before we get to your a wrap-up of your presentation, which was AI and automation and plenty more. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your role at Dynatrace?
Yeah, so Rafi Katanasho is my name, and I've been in this sort of space of the vendor land for about 20 years. Various startups, actually here in Australia, some of them were acquired by US-based companies. And currently, I work for a company called Dynatrace, where I am the CTO for the Asia-Pacific region. So I work very closely with customers, with partners, with our internal sales team to put the go-to-market, to make sure that we represent the APAC region in the best way possible in terms of the roadmap and product sets, and make sure that our customers are getting the most value out of the Dynatrace set and helping them to move faster with confidence, deliver perfect software experiences and automate.
Now, as I noted, your presentation is recorded so people can watch it in full, which they should. But what are the key points that you'd like people to remember if they're only seeing this video?
Yeah, well, we know that, everybody knows that the world is actually changing really, really quick. And actually, it's changing at a phenomenal rate of speed. And one of the key drivers of that change is obviously technology and software. So organizations really need to learn how to become software companies. But how do you actually do it? You're obviously competing against major software companies. There's some fundamentals that you need to do, because software is so important and so integrated into everything that we do. Software needs to work and work perfectly on an everyday type scenario, but also needs to work during special events. We're talking about organizations spend millions of dollars trying to put these special events in, and that's when they attract new customers. So the day-to-day stuff has to work, and these special things have to work. Otherwise, your brand is impacted. Otherwise, the disruption is coming, God knows from where, locally, globally, or internationally. So Dynatrace is where we actually trying to help organizations automate and then help them focus more on delivering capabilities to drive that software delivery chain, make software work perfectly, as well as release software faster. It's the quick companies that will actually be the winners. I think the companies that deliver things faster, innovate at scale, and be able to automate as much and learn from that in a continuous feedback type thing. So that's the major things. And
if we can just delve further, I know AI and automation are all the big buzzwords, but can you just delve a little bit further into what you spoke about on that topic today?
Yeah, AI is a very big topic, and I've been to Gartner events, so many different events, and people talk, and there's so many big buzzwords, from deep learning, GPU, natural language progression, machine learning, you name it. And when we talk about AI, I'm not talking about a generic purpose, human-like, intelligence type thing that's able to be, do everything. So we're talking about very specific use cases to help operations and business DevOps basically run faster. And so this AI that we're talking about has specific set of use cases and requirements. So it has to be real time. It cannot wait, weeks in terms of learning stuff. And it has to be as accurate as possible. So it can't be like 60% accurate, 70% accurate, because then it loses.
You can't trust it.
You cannot trust it, specifically for that specific use case. Real-time analytics, real-time things that people start getting sort of false positives and all that, they're not going to use it. So it's got to be accurate and it's got to be real-time. And it can't be an afterthought. So you can't bolt AI, once you've done certain things. So we're talking about AI that starts with high-quality data, your customer data, the most high-fidelity data. Data is gold. So if you start with that customer data and capture everything end-to-end with the highest fidelity of data, understand all the relationships, and basically integrate them in a way that doesn't just gives you correlation, right? It gives you causation. The biggest case about the correlations are here that Nick Cave making movies and kids drowning are correlating, actually, if you look at it. But reality is that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't mean anything, right? You need causational-based real-time analytics to help you drill down as deep and get the answers you need so you can automate. Because see, AI is what people need to actually leverage to help them automate. There are two use cases for AI that I see. One is automation, automate as much based on this truth, based on these answers, and augment people. augment them using that capability to help enhance, because some decisions will still need to be made by the business, by people. So we help that collaboration and leverage AI to drive that collaboration. I mean, you've seen some of the stuff that we're showcasing downstairs with that HoloLens, you know, in terms of augmented reality type collaboration. You've seen the voice type interactions. You've seen some of the, you know, more proactive dashboarding. It's about making sure that people who need to know, on a need-to-know basis, are empowered to actually make those decisions when they need to.
And I mean, today we heard stories about how people, you know, in the past they'd be getting phone calls at 3 a.m, and nowadays they can rely on the software to self-heal whatever the problem is and get told about it in the morning and fix it then or deal with it then. But the key thing's already been solved.
It's spot on, right? I mean, this is where you can leverage AI and automation. That's what, you know, the point of linking them in terms of driving self-healing. It's almost like that concept of, you know, self-driving cars. Now we need almost self-drive IT or autonomous IT. But, you know, that part needs two components. You need the platform to be responsive and understand, you know, how the software interact with it. So you can't use old platforms. You need to leverage new platforms. And that's why we think enterprise cloud is essential to this autonomous IT. And then you need the right software. It's almost like, you know, a central nervous system of a human. You need the brain, you need all the components, and everything needs sort of to be so integrated. It's almost like unity in diversity. You know, you need to unify all these sensors, have the brain to apply it to all of that data, and make real-time decisions that helps you with the self-healing capability.
Now, the conference today was very well attended. Is there a customer story or two that you can share just by walking around and chatting with people?
Yeah, there's so many actually stories. I was talking to, you know, I'm not sure if I actually can say the name, but actually I'll mention it. Queensland Police, you know, actually won an award with us. In terms of like in police, front-end staff actually leveraging iPads to actually deliver those front-end critical services, and how transforming the way they actually deliver, rather than speak to the police officer, having to replay what happened to him. Did it crash? Did it not crash? Now be proactive, get on top of it, make sure that these guys, it's almost like removing away the friction from them just getting their jobs done, right? That's what we need to do. It's almost like technology needs to be in the background.
Well, they always say that technology succeeded when it's become invisible to your everyday life.
That's spot on. And that's basically why they won that innovation award in there. And obviously we've heard from AMP, and what a brilliant story that we've heard there in terms of like them transforming, and you hear them going from cloud 1.0, the early cloud, and then now they're moving into this hybrid cloud, something we call enterprise cloud, where you've got this hybrid multi-environment cloud. They've got digitization and containerization. And how, I mean, I love the comment where, you know, Catherine Small basically said, it's like, and then I saw Dynatrace. And then I just fell in love with it, because it said, and it can't be an afterthought. See, this is where, as people are doing it, it needs to be part of the fabric, part of the platform. It's almost like having self-drive IT, you know, having the car, and then having to, you know, get the software at some other point in time. It's got to be part of the fabric.
And she explained how, you know, she understood it, and she had to sort of convince her superiors. But then once they sort of saw the benefits to them, they were on board too.
And that's the beauty about this digital world, is you've got to get quick wins, right? You've got to get people on board, because people are sick of this old way of vendors, you know, promising them things, and organizations and people promising them things. So they don't want, you know, more shelfware. They need actually to get things working for them as quickly as possible. So Catherine, but you need those, it's almost like internal champions that believe in it, that have the passion for that technology, and can take it internally and spread that passion around to the team. And if you need to spread it to the top, obviously, if it's sponsored from the top, that's ultimately where the most success happens. But if you've got these few individuals with the passion, they can make that stories, and it just goes around. And this is the Dynatrace story in there was like that. It's just like success for a project that's critical. Now it's all of a sudden execs. Now it's sort of going everywhere.
Yeah, and if it didn't work, she would never have been such an advocate.
Exactly right. And then we see obviously stories from Transurban about, I mean, they're running millions of cars transactions. They've got autonomous cars, actually talk about autonomous cars. I mean, the scale that they're actually running all these roadways across Australia is absolutely phenomenal. And they obviously they're a software company digitally transforming. So, you know, leveraging, you know, Dynatrace to help them with that platform. I mean, they said they've saved $600,000 in old school, you know, first generation performance testing, and now they're retransforming the business. So it's not about cost savings as well. It's about how effective are you to drive new markets, innovate faster. It's not so much about just cost cutting. Cost cutting used to be it's still important, don't get me wrong. But it is not the main driver for digital transformation. You got to be more effective in connecting with your customer, more effective in engaging with your customer, and more more engaged in terms of delivering the experiences of this ever-rising expectation and decreasing tolerance level of its customers, basically, especially in digital world.
Yeah, I think someone said that the experience you last had is the minimum experience you see for the future.
That's the quote. Actually, quote is the last best experience you have anywhere becomes your minimum expectations everywhere.
Yeah.
In terms of delivering it. And that's the reality that we deal with. Like, the next time you use something that's slightly better, is you're gonna go and use another service and you're gonna expect, because your expectation is slightly rising. And then that's the reality that most organizations, be it telco, finance, insurance, government department, that's the reality that they're facing. And that's why they need to become better at being a software company and deliver perfect software experiences to those customers and citizens.
And from the point of view of the developers, one of the speakers in the sort of discussion panel was talking about how the information is just, there's too much for humans to be able to process. We need these tools to be able to make sense of it.
That's spot on. The complexity, when you add all these layers and this fluidity environment that we're dealing with. An example that I actually gave was, a customer basically to try and run a single transaction with a couple of, basic, I would say, clusters of Apache Mesos, and it had 820 billion dependencies that, what human is going to be able to analyze this? Even sometimes you can put your best people on it. They spent 6 months trying to actually figure it out.
And some people said they put Dynatrace on and figured it out in a few minutes.
And that's where AI can do its job. And that's why I say deterministic, causational based AI that's able to tell them, hang on a sec, it's a Docker connectivity issue on a TCP retransmission, bang, instead of, it's this or that, the cloud or AWS or it's on-prem or it's, whatever it may be.
It's the difference between getting the answer straight away and spending months to figure it out.
And now it's a real-time 24/7 economy. And if you're not getting them straight away, you're spending hours of your time.
And losing money.
Not with your family, probably lack of sleep, and, and losing PR and money. We all hear these stories, right, of things going bad, and then companies have to react and compensate and things like that.
One of the winners today was Westpac NZ, and you said to type into Google Westpac NZ Dynatrace. But what's the very short story of why
that's an entire phenomenal story about how they've transformed culturally. The story that the way they tell it is that people who in IT, actually they were one of the lowest banks in New Zealand. That basically people wanted to work for. And that was a key measure for them, is how can we transform culturally that people want to work for Westpac? And then so that they made that as a KPI, right, as a target, right? And they, basically CIO down, CEO down, basically believed in the same vision, and they constantly started getting this continuous feedback, collaboration, breaking down all of the teams, and then leveraging technology as an underlining pin, but culture and process. Ultimately, they've been able to return more back to their investors. For every dollar invested in them, they're returning much more back. People, they're probably, I think it's not the first or second most wanting to work for bank in New Zealand. And so it's a phenomenal story in itself to say, and it's not just about technology, but it's about the entire organization changing, shareholders getting, obviously better value for the customers, getting better value for it, and their employees. They're your most important people now are happy to work for you.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if you want people to love your bank, your employees have to love you first. Otherwise, how are you ever going to transfer?
Well, let me tell you this: in this digital world, if your employees must be satisfied, must be actually getting better experiences than anywhere, so they can actually reflect that to their customers. It's when they're happy, invest in the employees as much as possible in their experiences. That's why I love that KPI. The KPI is, would you work and recommend somebody actually work for us? Would you want to be working for us? Great KPI.
Well, just by judging from you alone and your colleagues today, I can say that you all love working for Dynatrace.
I absolutely love it. I think, we're in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Dynatrace, where we've had the growth. We've had all the expertise. We've had the people. So it's very difficult to actually replicate what we've done because we were so successful. We could have done what we've done before. But we decided to actually rebuild, and it was with the right people, the right money. We basically spent somewhere close between $100 and $200 million building this platform from the ground up, rather than sticky taping things together. We've almost transformed ourselves to a digital company, and that's why we're passionate about taking our story and helping other organizations who want to transform digitally to, so we can actually say we've done it. It's not like we haven't done it.
Well, let's say you've got your own experiences to
drink your own champagne, or this is what we're actually doing daily.
Yeah. Now, I always like to finish with 3 questions. I mean, we have AI advancing at a rapid rate. You've spoken about many of the advancements that have transformed just the way these people are running their businesses. So, where do you think we'll be in a decade when a lot of these things are far more mature, and not just with AI and Dynatrace, but the IT industry in general?
Oh, I mean, that is a tough question.
People say if I knew the answer to that, I'd be in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
with a
exactly
pina
right.
colada.
If I knew the answer, because the thing is, things are changing so rapidly. It's
Yeah.
so difficult to actually know. But one thing, I mean, you almost know. I mean, if you speak to futurists or these people that they tell you, I mean, there's certain things that you can see that you can almost deterministically say these will happen. We know that the AI will be more leveraged across. We know that enterprise cloud will become prevalent in terms of its usage. We know all of
Autonomous
that.
cars are going to drive themselves properly.
And we'll have automation everywhere, and digital becomes in the fabric of what we do, whether it's a digital home, healthcare. I was at a major conference in China, 70,000 people, Alibaba Cloud conference, phenomenal level of. If you go there, just see. Digital everything from agriculture digitally, and they're transforming that agriculture industry to the healthcare industry completely being transformed, to the airline industry being completely transformed.
Through to payments. Every payment's on
Payments now completely cashless. I mean, I was in China, and honestly, I mean, somebody transferred money in WhatsApp, or actually WeChat, to me, and I actually was able to use it to pay for cars and things like that. I didn't need cash. I didn't need a bank account. And this phenomenal in terms of integration. So all of these things, I think basically it will merge the digital and the physical reality. Will be almost merged and blurred in some ways.
We're going to need an AI headset just to walk around the streets and know what to do and where to go and read the
I
signs.
also believe, we are also physical beings. We still need. That's why I believe in augmentation, augmenting people. The people. So almost, if you go away from the people centricity, I think we'll lose our way. So it needs to be people centric. It needs to be human centric. It needs to be advanced humanity. In a sense, and then I think we'll work it out. Overall, I think we've been around many times and we've seen things. I think we'll work it out as we go. But there will be a lot of learnings and a lot of sort of experimentation where we maybe push the boundaries on ethics, push the boundaries on morality, push the boundaries.
We'll
on
muddle
things.
through, as humanity always does.
But exactly right. I think ultimately, if we keep the focus on the humanity and the people centricity, as we're telling that in digital you have to be, then. People, will improve basically the life as we've improved our life over centuries. From manual labor to now lots of things being automated. I think that lifestyle will continue to improve, and we'll continue to have more luxuries to be able to do what we want to do.
Now, my second last question is always to ask if you could please share the best piece of advice you've ever received to help you get where you are today.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I think it's lots of advice. I think one advice probably come from my ex-boss. He said, never celebrate a sale, but celebrate the delivery and when the customers are actually successful. And I've taken that piece of advice. And whenever I speak to my Dynatrace team internally, I've always focused. I say, okay, you might have sold something, but I said, don't celebrate the selling, celebrate the delivery and when the customer is actually getting value from that. And I've kept that centrally to everything that I do. Is say, okay, look, I need, that's the customer centricity, back to customer centricity, but that's sort of stuck in my head, and I use it everywhere. And I say, with my team and all of that capability. So that piece of advice I think is being really helpful in at least the business world.
Sure. I mean, a sale in one sense is an ending, but truly it's the beginning.
And my dad always says is you've got to be, you've got to care about the people. If you work with people, ultimately you've got to care about the people of it, right? So I mean, you take that personal aspect of it, you care about the people beyond everything that goes around them, more them as a human, not as a worker, or I hate the term human resource, right? Because you're a person. Right? So if you care about the people and as humans and understand what drives them personally, and then you work on it and collaborate with them, and then you get the best out of people. That's a piece of advice from my dad, and a piece of advice from my ex-mentor, basically, who gave me that piece of advice about celebrate the delivery and the customer experience.
That's really good. So what's your final message to IT Wire viewers and readers and to your customers, future customers and partners?
Well, my message, actually, all of you, is you'll see there's a lot of noise in the digital world, a lot of noise. I mean, you come to conferences like this, you go to other conferences, you hear so many noise in those things, and it's so hard to cut through that noise. And in the digital world, I believe, experiencing is believing. Don't believe my words for it. Don't believe another salesman's word for it. Don't even believe a demonstration that you actually see. Go and download the stuff, experience it for yourself in your own environments. And basically then you'll understand, is it working for you, for your use case, for your business, and if you need help, obviously you can get the help to actually get it done. But don't take anyone's advice. There's so much noise, there's, talk about news, there's lots of media, there's blogs, there's vendors, there's analysts, there's so much noise. So you need to first start with what the business really needs, what your customers really need, boil it down to that, and basically try it for yourself. Don't use the old way of I will do paper-based evaluation.
Or nobody ever got fired for buying IBM.
Oh yeah, well, exactly right. Don't take a salesman's word and don't actually do paper-based evaluation. Experience it for yourself. Yeah. This is digital world.
It's the only way, right?
That's, in my view, that's the best advice I can give. Change your, acquisition processes rather than having these massive, big documents of RFP. Just go into the digital world. Then there's so much of it available. See what the business really wants, identify the use cases, start top down, and experience it for yourselves.
And then your customers will experience the benefits too.
And then ultimately you will be able to judge if this is actually working for you and your customers and your environment. Cut through all of that, noise that basically is. That's our biggest challenge right now, is cutting through the noise, so our prospects can actually understand, what we do versus someone else. It all sounds the same, right? See it for yourself. Experience it for yourself.
Rafi, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, really. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.